Welcome to Here's How We Get There. It's the daily show filled with conversations about business and mental health in a down-to-earth style with real-world language. Now let's dive in with your co-hosts, Kenneth Shark-Kinney and Trey Tucker.
All right, Trey, we're talking about the loss of a legend today. Jimmy Buffett died at the age of 76 from a rare form of skin cancer that he battled over 4 years, Merkel cell skin cancer. Sad loss, but talk a little bit about your thoughts about Jimmy Buffett.
Well, obviously the music is what everybody knows him best for. And me as a Florida boy, I was born there and went to the University of Florida. We kind of adopted him as basically our mascot, our lovable mascot. But when you look beyond the music, he did a phenomenal job as a businessman, as an entrepreneur. And one of the things that I think a lot of businesses can take away from him is that he honed in on one word that made his brand, that described who he was as a musician, as a brand. And that was escapism, because everybody wants to escape their 9-to-5 world, the stresses and the worries. And that's what he gave them through his music, through his concerts, through all the different ventures that he put his name on or started himself. He was very clear about what he was offering people. And I know you're going to talk more about that in a second. But the other thing I always heard, I never got to meet him, of course, but I always heard how just down to earth he was. People that met him said that he would sit right down next to you. He was as humble and unassuming as you could possibly be. And everybody in that room knew what a legend he was, except for him. And so I just loved that, the realness that he was. I think that really transformed himself on stage, because even though he was shy off stage, when he would step on stage, he added the fun, the energy. I got to go to a couple of his shows, and those were by far the most fun concerts I've ever been to. So the guy was a master, apparently a great guy overall. And so it hit me hard losing him. What do you think?
Yeah, so I mean, his sort of brand of island escapism. I mean, this guy from Pascagoula, Mississippi, who lived in Alabama, he lived in Texas, but where he really loved was Key West. And I know the story of Margaritaville came from, he had gone to a Mexican restaurant in Texas before he flew home to Key West. And they started talking about the margaritas that they had that were there. And so the idea kind of came to him in the plane. This was back in the early 80s. And then in 85, he started this Margaritaville store in Key West, which eventually grew to this massive brand we know that has cruise ships, hotels. There's a hotel in Bahamas I pass by all the time, a big, massive resort now, massive hotels all over the country. And I think it's like 12, 13 of them. It's opened one up in New York. But for a simple song, the critics were pretty rough on the guy. His, songs like Cheeseburgers in Paradise are not exactly going to be critics' fare, but they resonated with normal people like Margaritaville. That idea that escapism is what we all sort of love. And he's been so smart with his brand. And the guy landed on the Forbes billionaire list, estimated worth. And I know that his stake in Margaritaville alone was roughly 180 million on top of where else he had done. He's one of the top. He had earned as much as some of the top recording artists of all time. I think he's in the top 20 because he built out this massive brand. But I think it just shows you don't have to have a catalog of 8,000 songs that are number one hits on the Billboard charts that are written by 12 other people and produced by 12 other people, and then you're some phony for some big label. This guy was just a decent guy who wrote about the things in life that we all kind of want to escape. And that's why I live underneath these palm trees on every Zoom call I can get on. So sad to see him go, and he also helped, if you've ever been down to Gulf Shores, his sister's got a restaurant, Lulu's, which has expanded to 2 or 3 other cities as well. Brilliant businessman on top of having a few good hits that were just, created some great fans. So this next margarita is, let's pretend this is a margarita, but this next margarita in my cup is on Jimmy.
And my fins are up. That's my salute.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you for joining Shark and Trey on the Here's How We Get There show. Make sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the show and visit here'showwegetthere.com. That's here'showwegetthere.com.